Hey everyone, Coach Teresa here, and we are talking about co-parenting and continuing the three list exercise. But before we get started on that, so yeah, I changed shirts again and I've got something else in my background, but this time I had to turn off my green screen. Why? Because, well, I'm wearing blue and my background is blue. So using the green screen doesn't work. If I do that, here's what happens. Nice. Yeah, I pretty much, my upper torso disappears. Look, I don't have much torso anyway, so I need that back. But anyway, I'm going to leave that on. It's close to Memorial Day. So Purple Mountain's Majesty in the background I thought was maybe appropriate with my patriotic shirt. But let's get back to why I'm here, which is to talk about co-parenting conflicts that arise because you have different parenting styles. Or maybe the other parent is imposing or trying to impose in your home controls and rules that they want you to follow on their behalf when the children are with you. Okay. So the three different lists involve making a list of things you must agree on between the two of you, a list that are the things you don't think you need to agree on, and a list that represents those things you think maybe the other parent's better at and I would concede to them. Okay. And last time we talked about the must agree ons. Today I want to talk about the things that go on this you don't need to agree on list. This is usually where the conflicts live. One parent believes they must agree on things and enforce the same bedtime, for instance, across homes, while another parent doesn't believe the other parent has a right to impose such a rule in their home. So, how do you resolve this? Well, let's make the list. And some things that go on this list might be things like bedtime, but others are clothing choices or how the child's hair is styled, or maybe what TV and movies they watch, how much time they spend on TV and movies or online and on devices, how much time they play outside and how much physical activity they do, how much reading they do, the ways in which you will discipline the children if they do something wrong, um, even how you speak to the kids. Some parents yell, some don't. And really, it runs the gamut. Some people want to have agreement on toys and games and curfews and what the kids eat and drink. Some don't. Here's the deal. Again, if any of these have been laid out in detail in your parenting agreement, and I don't mean vaguely referred to, I mean specified in your parenting agreement, then you must agree to those terms. You must just comply with those terms, really. Otherwise, you can be held in contempt of court. Beyond that, though, here's the reality. You live in two different homes and you do not have the right to impose many of these things on the other parent, save them not being in your co-parenting agreement. Okay. I know this is a hard one. And the reason it's so hard is because, look, we are driven to protect our children and to help them to not just survive but thrive in this world. It's our instinct. It's natural. And when you separate, you start to lose some of that control because suddenly the kids aren't with you all the time. They go off with the other parent for some period of time. And so you have to adjust to this loss of control. So this list will help you get some perspective around the things you can and cannot do. But take solace in this. For those things you can't impose on the other person, realize that you have exclusivity to define how you live and how the children will behave in your home without interference from the other parent. And likewise. Now, there are a lot of parents that will try to interfere, but they really don't have a right to unless there are specifications in a parenting agreement. So, beyond them being spelled out, none of these above can be, none of the things we just talked about could be carried out illegally, in illegal ways or dangerously, or in violation of another's rights. For instance, if a child just stops eating, they go on a hunger strike while they're in middle school or something crazy, and you allow them to do that, that endangers their life, and that would be out of bounds. Okay. But that's an extreme example just to demonstrate the point. Everything you agree on or don't agree on has to fall in the bounds of everything the children are allowed to do and guided to do, being legal, not endangering their lives or the lives of others, or violating the rights of others. Okay, so that's your second list. Choices and decisions the two of you don't need to agree on. It's a transition. It could take some time, but you can get there. Next up, and I'm just going to stay dressed in this because this one's kind of short. Next up is the third list, the choices and decisions a parent may be willing to concede to another. And what I'm talking about here is playing to your strengths. If you're not very good managing your budget, then maybe you shouldn't be the one setting the budget on how much money you spend on sports activities and camps or gifts for Christmas. Maybe you should concede that to the other parent. Or if you know nothing about hairstyles and fashion, then concede helping your tween daughter pick out her clothing to the other parent that is better at that. Play to your strengths. That's what a team does to perform at their highest level. Okay, so the third list is pretty easy. Look for opportunities to concede to the other parent because it simply makes sense. And don't hang on to those things just because you're divorced now. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, do what's sensible, do what's right. Finally, how do you manage these differences in parenting styles? What do you do? What's your recourse if you don't agree and this doesn't live on the must list and it doesn't have a place in your parenting agreement? What can you do then? When you two disagree on parenting choices that don't otherwise have dictated terms, first of all, never tell the other parent that they should do things in their home the way you do or that they must. Really consider how this would play with you. Would you like to be told what to do in your home? I think not. Second, it's okay to share how you do things, and I encourage it. Hey, this is how I do it in my home. And then leave it there. Don't suggest that they pick up and do it the way you do it. Another approach is to share what you are doing and ask the other parent how they manage the same situation. This way, you're just comparing notes. And you never know, you may find that what they're doing is maybe a better idea than what you are, or them hearing how you're doing it may be something they never thought of. As long as what they are doing isn't dangerous, illegal, or violating the rights of others, though, here's the reality, and this is the tough one. Accept that this is their prerogative. I know it's tough. It'll take some time. Fake it until you make it. Also, I want to really make sure you get this. Don't tell the kids that the other parent's doing it wrong. Okay, this puts your kids in the middle. It also can create a dangerous situation if you really need them to be paying attention to the other parent because the other parent's saying, hey, don't cross the street without looking, and they ignore them because, well, you've told them the other parent doesn't know what they're talking about. See what I mean? That can be dangerous. You can't undercut the authority of the other parent. And then finally, you have a right to parent the way you believe is best. Rather than obsessing over the differences with your co-parent, remember that you have exclusive control within your home and when the children are with you to mold their experience the way you see best fit. And demonstrate the principles and practices that you think are best inside your home, inside your experience with the children. Okay. So if you or your co-parent are struggling to reconcile differences in parenting styles, try completing these 3 lists and run through the exercise, check yourself against some of the conditions that I laid out here. And I hope that helps. Happy Memorial Day, and I'll talk to you soon.